Friends, now in this video, we are going to discuss about the occupational health topic under the title of Industrial Hygiene and Occupational Health, which is an important subject for various diploma, post-diploma, post-graduation diploma, and post-graduation courses. So what exactly the occupational health is and what are their parameters or the relevancies? So these are the different contents of this presentation. So what exactly the occupational health is? So the highest degree of physical, mental, and social well-being of workers in all occupations. So we have to take care about the physical fitness, mental fitness, and social awareness also. So if the worker is fit from the physical fitness, if it is a fit from the mental fitness, if it is a stable one, and if he is also thinking about the society, then that particular point is called as occupations. So the highest degree of physical, mental, and social well-being of workers in all occupations. So each and every occupation is mentioned or controlled under this. Then if the each and every parameter is good, then that health is called as occupational health, right? What are the objectives of this occupational health is? So the first objective is to reduce the industrial accidents, then to prevent occupational hazards, diseases. So we will later discuss on what exactly the diseases are. Then to achieve the maximum human efficiency and machine efficiency. Then it represents a dynamic equilibrium between the worker and his occupational environment. So it represents a dynamic equilibrium between the worker and his occupational environment also. So again, the other objectives of this occupational health are to maintain and promote the physical, mental, and social well-being of the workers. Then to prevent the occupational diseases and injuries. Then to adapt the workplace and work environment to the needs of the workers, that is application of ergonomics principles. So we have already discussed about these ergonomics principles. It should be preventive rather than curative. So preventive is better than cure. That is why the wording is curative. So prevention is better than cure, as always the doctor says, and that is nothing but the one of the objective of this occupational health. So these are the different objectives. Obviously, we are going to reduce the accidents. We are going to reduce the diseases or the different hazards, then different injuries, and we have to maintain the physical fitness, mental fitness, and social well-being of the workers in all the occupations. That is the objectives of this occupational health. Then what is occupational health care? So occupational health care is preventive health care. So we have already mentioned that prevention is better than cure, and that is why we are going to focus the prevention rather than the treatment or cure. The objective of occupational health care is healthy and safe working environment, a well-functioning working community, prevention of work-related diseases, as well as the maintenance of employees, working ability and functional capacity, and promotion of their health. So we are focusing on the occupational health, and we are caring about their occupational health, and that is why it is called as occupational health care. So the main objective is to prevent the health care. So that is preventive health care. That is nothing but the occupational health care. So rather than giving the treatment, we have to take care. We have to take some precautionary actions, preventive actions, rather than the treatments. So that is occupational health care. What are the advantages of this occupational health care? So the advantages are investigates and assess load factors and hazards and give expert assistance for the eliminating them. So now in this case, we need some expert advice, some expert persons to reduce the hazards because we are handling the occupational health diseases or the hazards. And that is why we need the doctor's advice, certified surgeon's advice, medical officer's advice, etc. That gives the information and advice. So that is another advantage. That estimates employees' working ability and monitors their health conditions. So this occupational health care gives, this is the main advantage, that it can find out the working ability of that employee, and in case if any disease or hazard is there or any issues related to the physical fitness, mental fitness, etc., then they can easily identify and monitor their health conditions. Then prevents occupational diseases and other work related illnesses also. Then reduces absence due to the sickness. So if due to the physical fitness issue, due to some of the diseases, or if any employee is not feeling well, then there is more chances of absenteeism. So this occupational health care can reduce the absenteeism in the company. Obviously, it increases the productivity or the efficiency of that company as well as the product. So these are the different advantages of this occupational health care. Then what are the functions of this occupational health services? We know that in some of the large groups, there is the occupational health center. So we have already discussed about this occupational health center in the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963 as well as in the Factory Act 1948. So these are the functions which are related to that occupational health center also. But if the occupational health center is not available in your industry, then whatever the employees which are related to these occupational health services, that their function is near about same. Only the difference in the facilities are there. So the pre-employment medical examination. So if you are not having the facility to examine all these employee before the employment, then third party can also gives us the results and conclusion from this medical examination. So the occupational health service function is to do compulsory pre-employment medical examination. So to have the idea what exactly the physical condition or the medical condition of that particular person before the employment, then we can go through the medical examination details during the employment and even after the employment. So we can compare the medical fitness of that employee before the employment, during the employment, and post-employment. So normally in every year, the medical examination is going on. So every year also you can refer these reports, that is medical reports, and you can identify if any issues are there with that employee, then you can reduce that hazard, you can eliminate that hazard, or you can reduce the effect of that particular operation or chemicals or any issue on that particular person. Then first aid and the emergency service. So first aid boxes, first aid trainer, then first aid chemicals and the medicines must be available in all the industries, and that is the part or the function of this occupational health service. Then emergency services, for the emergency services also, you have to store some particular medicines, you have to keep some equipments also. Nowadays, the sophisticated equipments are also available as emergency service equipments. So you can take care about these equipments and medicines depending on the working condition in your company. Then supervision of the work environment for the control of dangerous substances in the work environment. So when we are talking about the occupational health, so we have to control these dangerous substances. So while storing, while handling, while processing these dangerous substances, we have to follow the safe operating procedures. And for the handling of these toxic, poisonous, or the different types of diseases making substances, there must be a particular supervision, and under that expert supervision only we have to handle these substances. Then special periodic medical examination, particularly for the workers in dangerous operations. Now this is dangerous substances, now it is dangerous operations. So we have to take care about the dangerous operations also, and some special periodical medical examination can be conduct for these types of operations for these type of operators. Then health education for disseminating information on specific hazards and risk in the work environment. So we have to train the people regarding the different hazards, different specific hazard, the risk involved, what is the level of risk, and what exactly the chemicals as well as what exactly the work environment is. So whether these types of chemicals are available in your environment, if it is available, up to what limit, what exactly the quantity is, and what is the risk due to this chemical present in this work environment. Or there may be a heat available, there may be a cold stress issues, or there may be some other issues. So we have to give the training, we have to educate the people regarding this risk and hazards and work environment. Then special examination and surveillance of health of women and children. As we know that in each and every practice, there is a difference between the immunities as well as the structure of the body in the men as well as in the women, and especially for the children. So with reference to that, we have to special examination must be conducted for this woman employee. Then advising the employer or management for improving working conditions and placements of hazards. So if there is a particular hazard is present, and if we want to reduce that hazard or eliminate that hazard, then we have to convey these things to the management or the employer. Then monitoring of working environment for assessment and control of hazards. So there may be a personal monitoring, there may be a workplace monitoring, there may be a daily monitoring, there may be a frequently monitoring, there may be a air monitoring, there may be a water monitoring, there may be different types of monitoring. So different types of monitorings are available for this checking the different conditions, especially when we are talking about the health hazards. Then supervision over the sanitation, hygiene, and canteen facilities. So we have to mostly take care about these health aspects, especially when we are taking the tea breaks, breakfast, or the lunch, or sometimes dinner. So whatever the canteen facilities are available, we have to supervise in that fashion. And when we are also talking about the toilet facilities or urinal facilities or drinking water facilities or some other facilities, so we are also want to take care and supervise all these sanitary things or hygiene things and canteen facilities things. Then what are the factors for effectiveness of these occupational health services? The factors are the nature of industry, small, medium, or large scale, and its locations. So that again decide the effectiveness of this occupational health center. So we have already discussed that if your industry is large scale industry, so obviously there is no issue of funding, though there is no issue of initial investment, and there is no issue of placing the occupational health center with medical treatment facilities as well as the medical staff. But your industry is small scale industry, then obviously the inspection, the supervision, the medical examination, the medical treatment facilities, and the occupational health center type of facilities may not be available due to the lack of funds. So that again affect the occupational health services, right? And if it is location, so if it is nearby urban area or in urban area, so obviously all the facilities can be easily available and may be available in a less time. But if the location is far away from the city, then there may be a chance of late response from the hospitals or late response from the medical officers, etc. So again, that is one of the major factor. Then existing infrastructure of health services. So whatever the health services available in your industry, in normally small scale industries, only first aid treatment or emergency services, etc. are available. And in the medium or large scale industries, the services may be at large level. Then trained manpower may be available in the large scale industries again. And if it is not trained manpower is available in the industry, then you can hire this trained manpower or you can ask the third party for this trained manpower. Because as far as these occupational health services are concerned, we have to refer the trained manpower or the expert persons only. We can't ask anyone to handle these occupational health services. Then workers' involvement and employers' commitment. So what exactly the guidelines are and how these workers or the employees are involved in these occupational health services? What are the guidelines provided by the experts or the medical officers or the doctors? And that should be committed by the employers and that should be followed by the workers or the employees. So that is again the major factor, because sometimes it happens that the large scale companies or the big giants, the management has provided all the facilities or the required facilities, but sometimes the employees or the workers are not following or not using all these occupational health services. And sometimes it is a vice versa case. The workers or employees are asking for the facilities, but the employers are not going to provide. Then surveillance of the work environment by means of epidemiological studies and testings. So whatever the epidemiological studies and testings are there, depending on that also the effectiveness of the occupational health services depends. Then occupational health services are also depends on the different types of factors or the parameters like medical treatment. So medical treatment may be first aid treatment, that may be emergency treatment, that may be some other types of treatment. Then health education is also one of the good factor. If the trainings, awareness programs are conducted in your company, or the first aid trainings are also conducted in your company, then CPR training is also conducted in your company, or how to handle the health emergencies, then etc. All these programs or some education is provided in your company, then that effectiveness is more in the occupational health services. If the medical treatment, that may be a type of first aid treatment or in emergency treatment, then it is well and good. The medical examination may be like we have already discussed, like pre-employment, periodical medical examination and special medical examination. So pre-employment is obviously before the employment in your company. Then periodic medical examination is generally 1 year. Sometimes in some of the companies, it is 2 times in a year. And special medical examination may be due to the particular accident or due to some medical emergency case or due to some medical issues to some of the employees. So these are the special medical examinations. So these are the different factors on which the effectiveness of the occupational health services are depend. Then what are the common occupational diseases? So in the definition of the and objectives of the occupational health, I have mentioned you that we will discuss it later on. So this is nothing but the common occupational diseases. So damage to the lungs caused by the dust or fumes or noxious substances, specific occupation is known as occupational lung disease. So this is one of the occupational disease. So this is occupational lung disease. Nowadays, we are also facing the problem that is COVID-19. And if the patient is more serious, means it affects on the lungs. And that is why we are going to conduct that HRCT test. So from the HRCT test, we can identify how much or what exactly or how much percentage of that lung is infected due to this COVID. So due to this corona. So this is nothing but the lung disease also. But whatever the lung diseases mentioned under this act, that is Factory Act, that is called as occupational lung diseases. So that is one of the occupational disease. So diseases due to physical agents, that may be due to heat, that may be due to cold, that may be due to light, that due to pressure, noise, radiation, etc. So due to heat, if the diseases are there due to heat hyperpexia or heat exhaustion, burns, local effects, etc. So that may be related to the heat exchanger, furnaces, or some combustion processes. The cold, that may be due to the trench foot or frostbite and may be related to the refrigeration systems. Then light, that is occupational cataract, and then pressure, Kaizen's disease, air embolism, or noise, occupational deafness. Then radiation, that may be a cancer, then leukemia, aplastic anemia, etc. So these are the different examples where this disease may be due to the physical agent. Then diseases due to the chemical agent. So the chemical agent may be gases like CO2, dust, that may be inorganic dust or organic dust. So inorganic dust, that may be a coal dust, and due to this coal dust, the disease may be anthracosis. Due to silica, it may be a silicosis. Due to asbestos, it is asbestosis, and due to iron, it is siderosis. Or if the organic dust is present, then there may be a case of cane fiber like bagasosis, tobacco, tobaccosis. Then hay or grain dust, that may be a farmer's lungs. Then diseases due to biological agents. So there may be examples of brucellosis, leptospirosis, anthrax, then psittacosis, tetanus, then encephalitis, etc. These are the different diseases which may be due to the biological agent. Then occupational cancers examples are dermatitis, that is due to skin, and eczema. Then diseases by psychological origin, that may be industrial neurosis, hypertension, peptic ulcer, etc. So these are the different occupational diseases or the common occupational diseases due to different agents. Then we have already mentioned the dust is one of the factor for occurring a particular type of disease, right? So there are different types of dust like quartz and mixture containing quartz. That may be a coal dust, that may be a mineral ores, sand, rock, then fluorspar, quartzite, etc. Source may be mining, ceramic industries, refractories, plastering, mixing, insulating material, etc. They cause a nodular fibrosis and silicosis. So one of the main dust type like quartz and their mixtures. Then asbestos, so raw asbestos, then crystal, then amphibial, asbestos cement talc, etc. are the different examples of this asbestos and mixture containing asbestos dust. Sources may be a textile industry, then insulation, packing, jointing, etc. Then there is another type of dust like metal and metal compound dust. So that may be iron, that may be a nickel, lead, manganese, aluminum, beryllium, chromium, cadmium, vanadium, and their oxides are extensively used in metallurgy, metalworking, then welding, electroplating, furnaces, sintering, etc. So these are the different types of dust, their sources, and the results or the outcome of this dust. That is nothing but the disease. Then this dust, metal dust, maybe they can cause irritation, diffuse fibrosis, different types of lung disease known as siderosis, bronchial carcinoma, asthma, aluminum lung, etc. Then another type of dust is plant and animal dust, that is organic dust. So that may be wood, animal hides, skins, hair, feathers, scale, cotton flax, hemp, sisal, jute, moldy hay, straw, cereals, bagasse, crushed grains, and bran enzymes, etc. So the source of this organic dust may be a woodworking industry, agriculture industry, poultry industry, textile industry, grain industry, sugar mill industry, etc. And the immune reaction, carcinoma, allergic rhinitis, bronchial asthma, farmer's lung, bagasosis, basinosis, etc. are the different diseases may be due to this organic dust. And other dust may be, there may be a chemical dust like carbon dust, soot, graphite, phthalic, and arsenic dust, etc. and found in mining, metallurgy, rubber, and plastic. So how to control this dust? We have discussed what exactly the dust are, what are the types of dust, what are the sources of dust, and what are the diseases may be caused due to these types of dust. So controlling of this dust is very important. So the general methods of this controlling the dust are, that is, first is elimination. So we have to eliminate or remove that particular dust from that particular source. So elimination of dusty process, example, improved casting technique to eliminate dusty fettling process. So that is nothing but the elimination, that is removal of that dusty process. Second one is substitution by a less toxic or non-toxic dust. So we have to replace a non-toxic or less toxic substitute or the component as compared to the toxic dust. Example, shot blasting in place of sand blasting, metal mold in place of sand molds, and glass fibers or slag wool in place of asbestos insulations. So these are the different examples of substitution control method. Then segregation and enclosure of the process if dust generation can't be prevented. Example, blasting cabinet, fuming cupboard. So that is nothing but the segregation or separation or isolation. And fourth one is wet method. So it prevents particles becoming airborne. So we have to settle these airborne particles with the help of some liquid. So normally in some of the cases, we have to use water as a liquid to settle down this airborne dust. So this is wet method. So these are the different dust controlling methods like elimination, substitution, segregation, and wet method. And these are the different examples of diseases under Factory Act, that is with reference to 89 section. Notice of certain diseases, 90 is related to the power to direct, 91 is power to take samples, 91A is safety and occupational health services. Then the reference of these acts again, that is under section 89 and 90. Third schedule gives the occupational diseases. And under this third schedule of Factory Act 1948, these are the different occupational diseases are mentioned, like lead poisoning, lead tetraethyl poisoning, phosphorus poisoning or its sequel, then mercury poisoning or its sequel, manganese poisoning or its sequel, arsenic poisoning or its sequel, poisoning by nitrous fumes, carbon disulfide poisoning, then chrome ulceration are its sequel. So these are the different diseases listed out in the third schedule of the Factory Act 1948. Then occupational disease and their symptoms. So these are the diseases caused by the metals like example lead. Then the occupations involved are alloys, lead batteries, paints, and lead burning. So these are the different processes where you may face the problem due to the lead. So that is called as lead poisoning. And the signs and symptoms of this lead poisoning is weakness, insomnia, motor weakness, fertility, etc. Likewise, you can go through the phosphorus, then occupations and their signs and symptoms, mercury, occupations and their signs and symptoms, manganese, occupations and their signs and symptoms. Likewise, silicosis, that is the symptoms and the main cause is silica. Then bicyanosis is nothing but the lung disease. So it is mainly happen in the plywood or wood industry, cardboard industry, fertilizer industry, and fuel industry. So you can find out the different diseases. You can find out the root causes, and where it can be possible, you can refer the historical data, and you have also find out the signs and symptoms from the registers where the medical officer or the doctor has mentioned that these are the signs and symptoms, and then they have identified that this particular disease is there or present in that person, and this is the occupations. So due to this data, they can easily identify and they can easily avoid the repetition of these types of diseases, repetition of these occupations, and they can go for the controlling of all these types of diseases. So again, these are the additional examples of nitrous fumes and phosgene. Then carbon disulfide, isocyanides, radioactive substances, then cataract by IR radiations. Then hearing loss, biohazards, that may be disease caused by biological agents. And these are the diagnostic methods. So from the medical history, that is one of the main factor, and that record is mainly referred for the treatment purpose. Then clinical examination. So there may be some clinical examination or testing can be done for diagnostic these diseases. Then eye examination, biological examination of blood, urine, and hair. Then hematological indicators. Then pathological test, X-ray, radiographs, lung functions test, FAC test, liver function test, medical examinations. So these are the different examination or test or methodology or methods to adopt for diagnosis. Then industrial medical services in broad sense should be as follows. So we have already mentioned about the first aid box. So this is the criteria that less than 150 number of worker, then you have at least one first aid box and the staff trained first aid attendant. Then for 150 to 500 workers, first aid room should be there, and the staff trained first aid attendant and part or full-time nurses should be there. For 500 to 1000 workers, medical examination should be given and the trainer should be there. So trained first aid attendant for each shift plus nurse and health. For more than 1000 employees, factory medical center should be there, and about 3 plus 1 or more health officer and clerical laboratory staff should be there, and very large factory staff. So in the thousands, then the factory hospital should be there, and hospital staff should be trained and employed in that company itself. So what are the adverse health effects due to these occupational diseases? So there may be issue related to the noise, there may be related to the vibrations, that may be related to the cold stresses, heat stresses, ionizing radiation, and non-ionizing radiations. So these are the different adverse health effects caused due to these factors, and that may need a particular diagnosis and then treatment for these effects. So this is an overall idea related to the occupational health. We will discuss the various factors of this occupational health in next video or in the next presentation. Thank you.